Welcome back to Simrite Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew these beautiful 6 pieces side draped gowns made by VEEKEE James. You can see this dress is very beautiful. I really love this dress, honestly. It's giving. So this beautiful side drape dress, you can style it in 7 ways. As you can see, VEEKEE James styling them in 7 ways. So I'll be teaching you the tips and tricks to making this beautiful dress. As you can see right there, we have the upper drape on the yoke side. We have the collar. You can see the 6 pieces run all the way from the shoulder down to the hem. So I'll be teaching you the tips and tricks to sewing this VEEKEE James beautiful dress the way it is right there. And you can see what I came out with. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn how this dress is made. So you can go ahead and style. You can go ahead and make your side drapes as long as you wish. Okay, so I just made my own side drapes the way I want it. So let's jump into this tutorial. I'm using a stretchy fabric, so you can use any stretchy fabric of your choice, and I'm using 4 yards of stretchy fabric for this dress. So I'm going to draft on my pattern. So I've already marked my lines. These are my vertical lines from my shoulder to the waistline. Okay, so I'm just going to rule the lines. This is my chest line, bust point, under bust, waistline. Now I'm going to join my pepper because we are going to draft from the shoulder, chest, under bust, bust point, under bust, waistline. From my waistline, I'm going to take my hip line. So after your hip line is your knee line. So I counted 3 inches above my actual knee line. Then the full length, I just made 50 inches length, but you can go as long as 60 inches. So just to mark the lines again and get a straight line, I'm marking on both sides. So this is my hip line. After my waistline, this is my knee line and the full length of the gown, and this is the shoulder line. Next, we'll start to, this is the knee and the full length. So make sure you mark or highlight all these vertical lines. Then we'll begin to place the horizontal measurements. So the first measurement I'm going to take right now is my shoulder divided by 2. I'll mark it on the chest line 2. My neck width is 3 inches. I came down by 1 inch. I'll go ahead and connect my slant line and my straight line from my sleeve. So you get the midpoint of your armhole and come in by 0.75 and connect. Measure your bust circumference divided by 4 and place on the chest line accordingly. Then connect your armhole. The neck depth is 3 inches. I'll go ahead and connect 3 inches to 3 by 3. So after connecting the line, your nipple to nipple you mark. So I'm marking my nipple to nipple 3.5. Nipple to nipple divided by 2. Mine is 3.5 for this project. So I'll mark it on all the lines, the hip line, as you can see. So from the bust point, I'm going to connect a straight line of my nipple to nipple divided by 2. On the waistline, I added 0.75 on both sides. That is 3/4 of an inch, 3/4. So I connected my dart, as you can see, to the hip line. After that, I'm going to, this is my center front. Center front will be on fold. So I'll mark my waist divided by 4 and add my 1.5 inches dart line and connect. Then you mark your hip line divided by 4. You can see how I'm placing my pattern ruler to connect. Next, I'll come over to the knee. Whatever you have on the hip, take away 2 inches from it. I took away 2 inches. And then I'm going to connect to the knee line. Then whatever I have on the knee line, I placed whatever I have exactly to the hem line. Now I'm going to connect a straight line to it. Then I added 6 inches extension. So my extension is 6 inches. It can be 6, it can be 8. It depends on how much you want it to flow. Then I'll come up by 1 inch to avoid pointy parts. Then I'm going to connect a curvy line, as you can see. So I'm going to take that nipple to nipple measurement line. I'll take it all the way to the hem, as you can see me do right here. Now we are going to go over to the shoulder. On the shoulder, you take the midpoint of the shoulder and connect it to the bust point. After that is done, you measure 5 inches from your neckline and mark. Then bring in your curve ruler and connect a curvy line to the armhole. That is the yoke line. Now on that yoke line, I'm going to take the over bust contour line. So for the over bust contour line, the yoke will be on fold, take note. So I'll measure 0.75 this way and 0.75 that way. Now this is how I place my ruler for the contour line. That is the over bust contouring. Now we are cutting out that. Then you come over to the under bust. So I'm going to take my under bust measurement, circumference divided by 4. So whatever you have, just go ahead and mark it. And whatever remaining, mine is 1.5. I'll mark 0.25 on the front and 1.25 on the left. So on this under bust contour, please use any under bust that you are familiar with. Okay, but if you have been following me on this channel, this is the under bust contour line I like to use. So after connecting the under bust, then you connect straight to the hip line. So from that under bust, I'm going to rule a straight line. So I just thought of changing my marker. I brought a red marker just to differentiate the part we are going to cut. So I'll just go ahead and connect to the hip the way you see me do right there. So the red part is the part I'm going to cut off for this dress. Now we are done. So the next we want to do right away is to start cutting out this beautiful pattern. But before you do that, make sure you name your patterns, F1 and F2. Now I'm going to start cutting right away. So I'm going to cut from the down part. So I want you to watch to see how I'm cutting this beautiful pattern. I'll go ahead and cut, as you can see right there. Then I'll go ahead and cut into the yoke line, cut my yoke, cut the shoulder seam line. Then I'll stop at that for now, okay? So the next is to separate the center line and cut out the darts accordingly. Here is my dart. I'll go ahead and cut it out accordingly. Now the pattern is almost ready. So this is the front pattern I actually cut right now. So after the front pattern, we'll go ahead to fill in that space. You can see there's a shortage. So you have to match up your pattern on the chest line. You can see how I'm doing that. So I placed a piece of paper below, match the chest line. Then you can see that little shortage. Please try and fill it in before you proceed to the stitching of to the cutting of on your fabric. So I'll just go ahead and fill it in this way. Now after I'm done filling it in, I'm going to cut it out. As you can see right there, I'm just trying to cut it out accordingly. Now we are done. So the front pattern is ready and this is the yoke. So like I said, just leave the neckline like that. We'll actually come back to it. But don't forget to, before we go over to the back, we are going to create the yoke line. So you just come in by 1.5 inches and go up by 2 inches. Okay, so that is how the neckline will look like. You come in straight and go upwards. So you connect it like a square. So you are going to see why we have to connect this yoke line this way. So you just cut up to that 1.5 inches. We came horizontally and cut upwards 2 inches, as you can see. And this is the shape it's going to have. Now don't forget to add your your bust dart. So the difference between the front and back of this dress for this length is 1 inch. So from my bust point, I came down by 1 inch. I connected my bust dart. Then I divided it into 2. Now I'm going to cut out my bust dart and close it up. And I want you to watch to see how I'm cutting my bust dart and closing it up accordingly. So I'll just use my adhesive and close my bust dart. My bust dart is ready right now. So now we can say we have our full front pattern. So for the back, I'm going to start drafting the back. That is the shoulder line and this is the center back. I'll place my tape on the shoulder line, mark my chest line. I'm going to mark my waistline. So after your chest line is your waistline. So for my waistline, I came upwards by 1 inch. And this is my hip line. So you keep coming upwards, your knee line, whatever measurement you have at the front, just be coming up by 1 inch because of the bust dart. So if your bust dart difference is 2, you come up by 2 inches, just like that. So I'm ruling my lines right now. I'm ruling my lines. So this is the back dress. So the back dress is usually shorter than the front dress because of the bust dart technique. Now here is my waistline, hip line, my knee line, and my full length line for the back. So I extended the line at that point. So we are going to take the horizontal measurements. My shoulder divided by 2 is 7.5. I'll mark it on the chest line. So I'm going to draw a straight line. And then my neck width is 3 inches. Neck depth is 1 inch for the back. Now I'm going to connect the neckline. I step down by 1 inch for my shoulder drop. So I'll go ahead and connect 1 inch for my shoulder drop. Then I'll get the midpoint of my armhole, go in by 0.5 inch for the back armhole and connect. Your bust divide by 4, you mark it on the chest line and complete your armhole. Next, we are going to go over to the waistline. On the waistline, you are going to mark your waist divide by 4 and mark, then add 1 inch for your dart. Then take whatever you have there and get the midpoint. So I will take what I have on the midpoint and mark it on the chest line and mark it on the hip line. So this is going to serve as my dart leg for the back. Now I'm going to share my dart at the waistline. My dart is 1 inch. I'll share half inch on both sides for the back. Then I'm going to connect it, as you can see right there. I'll connect it that way to the hip line as well. So doing this, I've gotten my dart for the back. Next, I'm going to connect what I have from the chest line to the waistline. That is the shape of the dress. Then you are going to measure your hip circumference divide by 4 and mark. Then I'm going to place my pattern ruler to connect the shape of the dress. So whatever you have on the hip, we are going to measure what we have on the hip. Take it to the knee line and take away 2 inches. Take away 2 inches from it. Now I'm going to connect this dress. So I'm going to also take what I have on the knee line right now. Take it to the hem line. Exactly what I have on the knee line. I'm going to connect a straight line. Then you are going to add your extension for your 6 pieces skirt, a gown. So I'll just add the extension 6 inches. You can do 8 inches if you want it to flow more. Then I'll go up by 1 inch and then I'm going to connect back to the hem line. Then you are going to run that leg. Run it all the way from the hip to the hem. Now after that, this is B1 and this is B2. So the next we are going to do is to contour the zipper back. So I'm going to contour my back by 1 inch. I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch at that point. Then I'm going to connect from that 1 inch all the way to the neckline to nothing. That is my zipper line. So I did this only on the upper part of this dress because we are going to cut the waistline for the back. So you replace that 1 inch on the side. And also check what you have on the chest line, replace it on the side as well. Then reconnect the dress to avoid shortage. So here it will be on fold, the down part will be on fold, but the back upper parts will be cut 2 times. Of course, you are going to see how we are going to do it on this tutorial. So we are done right now. The next is to start cutting. So I'm cutting from the down part right now. I'll cut from the down part all the way to the waistline. So once I get to the waistline, I'll just cut it this way. I'll continue my cutting on the side. I'll go over to the armhole, as you can see, and cut it out. So I'll cut out the shoulder seam line and the neckline, then cut out the zip contour line. So this is how your pattern will look like. So I'll just go ahead and take it off, cut it off that way and separate. So if I separate it, you will see the dart has shifted. So I'll show you what you are going to do for the dart. But first of all, label your patterns B1, B2, and the down part will be on fold. Now you are going to get the midpoint of your shoulder for the back, because this is a shoulder dart, so you connect it back to that chest line. Next, we'll go over and cut out from that line and cut out the 1-inch dart. So we'll cut out the 1-inch dart. So because the dart has shifted because of the contour line, this is what we have. So you see the dart shifted, and I'll show you how to correct it. Now I want you to watch to see what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is to seal the two together. So you go ahead, use your seal tape and seal the two patterns that you cut out. We are going to reshape the dart right now. So I'll go ahead and reshape my dart accordingly. So after sticking the two together, now remember the shortage was as a result of the zipper allowance. So I'm going to mark the contour line is 1 inch. So I'll come in, shift to the side by 1 inch and connect back to the chest line. So by doing this, you have actually shifted the zipper contour line, and the dart will match right now. So after cutting it out, this is how your new pattern is going to look like. So by the time I cut out the dart, you can see they are matching right now. You can see it perfect. So next is to cut out the down part of this dress. Cut out the dart and take the cutting all the way to the hem line. Alright, so the pattern is actually very much ready for cutting. So the next stage will be to cut. So I'll bring in my fabric right now. So first is to place the fabric on fold. So once you place it on fold, because the center back is on fold, the center back is on fold, so you have to place it on fold. So I place my fabric on fold right now, and I'm going to secure with my pins and go over to cut. Here you can see me securing with my pins right now. I'm trying to arrange this fabric because it's actually very stretchy. So make sure the stretchy part is on the horizontal part, okay? Don't keep it on the vertical. Let it be on the horizontal part, the stretchy part. And make sure you also label your patterns, the knee line and all that. Of course, for this part from the knee line, we are going to add the extension. So I have to label the two of them. So you are going to see how we are going to cut this dress and achieve that beautiful 6 pieces VEEKEE James has on her dress. Now I've placed my patterns. I'm adding the extension. 7 inches is what I added because of seam allowance. So I added 7 inches and I connected the 7 inches to the knee line. So after that, I connected. So because this fabric is actually very soft, so I'm going to do more of cutting than marking. So I proceed to cut the extension I added on the side of the front pattern. So I added 1/2 inch from that to stitch the bustier. Now I added 1 inch on the down part of this. So I'm adding 1 inch, okay? So that 1 inch or 1.5 I added is for the hemming line and to make it longer. So after cutting that part, on the side I added 1 inch. So don't forget to add 1 inch. Although this fabric is actually very stretchy, you can also add half an inch so it relaxes and fits you the way you see it on my cleansed body. Okay, so I continue to add my 1 inch seam allowances on this side, and for the bustier area I added half an inch all the way. So I took it all the way to the upper side, and I also added half an inch, as you can see me do right here. So here is how your pattern is going to look like. So we have both the front piece, the side and the center front piece, and this is the shape. The center front is on fold, and we added our extensions on both sides. So this is the back pattern. From the waistline to the down part, I use the same method for the front to add the extensions. So this is how your pattern should look like for the back, and this is the upper piece of the back. So I added 1 inch zipper allowance at the center back. This is the down part on fold. So the down part, center back for the down is on fold, while the center back for the upper back has a zipper or a joining. So this is how your pattern is going to look like. So I'm going to take off my patterns, as you can see right there, and I'll begin to join my fabric accordingly. So here is the center back of that upper piece for the back. I'll take off the patterns for the side, and I'm going to join them side by side accordingly. So here I'll go over to the machine and use half an inch to stitch them together while I have my center back. So here I've joined my pattern. So the next is to join the down part too. So I'll bring in the down part of this pattern right now. So I'm just trying to arrange them, my patterns, and start joining them. So here are my patterns. I'm going to take off the pattern and begin to join the down part of this dress. So the center back for the down part is on fold, like I earlier said. So next is to start joining them, the dart points. So I'm using half an inch to join them together. So I'll proceed to place them together, and I'll go ahead and stitch half an inch from the upper part all the way down. So after stitching, this is what I got. So next I'm going to join the upper piece right away. So this is how you are going to join the upper piece. So I'm trying to arrange them for you to see. Make sure the darts are matching, very important. So I went ahead to match my darts accordingly. So once you match the darts, then you have your 1 inch seam allowance in between. So I'll just go over to my machine right now and stitch 1 inch and leave my zipper space. So after stitching, this is what I got, and here is my zipper space. So the zipper space is not too down, but if you are on a bigger size, you can take it all the way down, but VEEKEE did not take it down. So as you can see on the picture right here, you can see it's not down. Right here, we'll begin to sew a mixed fabric. So this mixed fabric is also stretchy. So the width of this fabric is 10 inches, and the length is the length of my waist. So I folded it 1 inch on both sides. So I'll go ahead and gather each end. So you just go ahead and gather each end. So I have gathered the ends. I'll go ahead and place the ends on the side. I'll place them on the side, as you can see, and I'll proceed to stitch them to cover that joining, as you can see right here on the picture. So the next thing is to trim out the excess. So this fabric is actually very stretchy, so if you have an excess, just go ahead and trim it out, and that is exactly what I'm doing right here. Now after I'm done trimming it out, the back is ready as you see it. Now we'll go ahead to join the front. So for the front, I'll take off my patterns and I'm going to join them. The center front is on fold. I'll go ahead and mark it. So make sure you notch the under bust at this point. For the center front and for the side, make sure you notch the under bust so the joining will be easy for you. I'll proceed to stitch my under bust. Of course, you know how to stitch your bustier and stitch it all the way down. So that is exactly what I'm going to do right here. I'll stitch it all the way down, and this is what I came out with. I'll go ahead and make some notches at my bustier, and then I'll use my tailor's ham and iron it nicely. Okay, so make sure you iron nicely, not with a hot iron so you don't burn your fabric. So after ironing, I will go over to the yoke right now. So I want you to pay attention to this yoke part because this is the main purpose of this tutorial. You bring your fabric and place it on fold, then secure with your pin. So just cut out any piece of fabric and make sure the length is long the way my own is right. It can be 20 inches long in length. Then you place it on fold. From that point, I'm going to mark 8 inches. Then I'll cut it as a V to that 8 inches. Then I'm going to add half an inch to the sleeve area. Then add half an inch to the shoulder seam line. Now I'm going to add half an inch on the upper part, then add half an inch to that, to the neckline, and then add half an inch like that. So this is what you are going to have after you are done cutting your yoke, and this is the shape your yoke will have when you open it. Now you are going to run a gather stitch at the center. So I went to run a gather stitch, but meanwhile I folded 1 inch down. Okay, so I folded it inwards, as you can see. So we are going to gather this to 2 inches. Remember, the yoke was 2 inches, the center front was 2 inches, so gather it to 2 inches. Okay, make sure the gathers is tight and you measure it to be at 2 inches. Please don't forget to make it 2 inches so it relaxes exactly like the pattern. After gathering it, the next we are going to do is to sew the neck shoulder seam lines. So I'll place it on top of the back, the yoke on top of the back, and I'm going to sew half an inch on the shoulder seam lines. Now we will begin to create the collar. So I'll place the collar on fold. So my collar is on fold at 4 inches and the length of this collar is 15 inches. So I'll just go ahead and make my gathers. So the 4 inches, you are going to gather it to 2 inches for the both collars. So we have 2 collars right there on fold. Now I'm going to bring in the dress. So we are sewing this collar from the center back where we have the zipper. I'll go ahead and place it, the open part of the collar, I'm going to stitch it on the neckline till I get to that junction where we have the square edge. So you stop at that point. So I did the same on the other side of the collar. Now I'm trying to adjust that center gathered line because that is where the design is. Make sure you gather that part. If it's loosening, you can use needle and thread and tight it so that part will be exactly at 2 inches. So you can see my collar right now. So I've sewn my collar to that junction. So the next we are going to do is to overlap or flip it. So I want you to watch how I'm flipping it. So the right collar, you are going to put it on fold and flip it to the left side. Can you see that? Then you gather and stitch on that part. So but I'll secure with my pin for that part. So once you gather it on that center front area, just overlap it to the left side, then secure with your pin. After that, you flip the other collar to the right side, from the right side to the left side, and from the left side to the right side like that, and then it's overlapped. So you just go ahead and secure with your pins accordingly. So once you have done that, that is the collar for you. Next, we'll go ahead and stitch from the back. So you turn it to the back and stitch. So after stitching, this is what I got. I'm going to cut out the excess I have on my collar. Go ahead and cut out the excess. So I have cut out the excess and this is what I got. So we'll go over and sew the yoke to the other part of the dress. Now this is my collar, so make sure you also gather it to 2 inches. I keep repeating, so it gives you that style. Okay, and these are the drapes. You can see the drapes are very beautiful there. Now we'll bring in the down part of the dress. So you are going to put it together and get the midpoint. Notch your midpoint and let the midpoint be exactly at the center yoke line of this dress. So I'll just go ahead and flip it right side to right side. So I'm going to stitch from the mid center front all the way. So I'm trying to gather it more because the gathers is loose, but I will gather it with my needle and thread later. So I'll just go ahead and stitch. So after stitching, here is the dress and this is the zipper line. So you can see the front dress. So next is to sew the drapes. So for the drapes, you need to put the dress together and mark from your waist to above either your hip line or above your hip line or just below your hip line. Okay, so I marked my waist. This is my waist. I placed a notch, and below my hip line, 3 inches below my hip line or 4 inches above your knee line, you mark the point of your drape. Now I'm going to get a mixed fabric, the same fabric I used for the other. The width of this fabric is 25 inches and the length is 72 inches. So it has to be really very long. The width is 25. So I went ahead and gathered the 25 inches by the side. Okay, so I'll use my machine to hold it down, and I will do the same for the other side. So after stitching the width, this is what I have after I gathered it, and this is what I also have on the other side after I gathered it. So that is the drape, the part you are going to use for the styling. So next I'm going to put the dress right side to right side, and I'll begin to stitch at 1 inch. My seam allowance, I added 1 inch, so I'll just go ahead and match it together and sew 1 inch all the way from the armhole to the down piece. So I'm trying to arrange this part so I'll be able to stitch the size accordingly. Okay, so just go ahead and stitch 1 inch downwards. So I'm going to stitch on both sides and the dress shape is ready. So I will do the same on the other side and stitch. So after stitching, you can see how beautiful these drapes and the dress is looking, and this is exactly what you are going to have. Can you see that? So this is it. So you begin to style the way you actually want it, and this is the upper part of this dress. So the next we are going to do is to fix our zipper. So like I said, your zip can belong to the waist if you are on a bigger size, or if you are on a medium size, you can just do like VEEKEE did. So here I use a short zip and I'll go ahead to gather that line. Okay, so the collar is 2 inches width, so make sure your gathers is 2 inches and you sew all the way from the collar down. Now the next is the sleeve. So you have to cut out your sleeve and mark your sleeve grain line and the front piece. So this part is actually very easy. What you are going to do is to put your sleeve together and shaping the sleeve. So I'll just proceed to shaping my sleeve, and this is my zipper. You can see the zipper is a short zip, as you can see right here on VEEKEE's dress. So next I'm going to attach the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and attach my sleeve, as you can see. So the way I attach my sleeve, I usually like to open my zip, then put the sleeve inside and match it sleeve grain line to shoulder seam line, armhole line to sleeve armhole line. Then I'll stitch 1/2 inch all around. The dress is ready and beautiful. So you can rock this dress for any occasion of your choice. This is the bustier area, as you can see. So that is how we come to the end of this tutorial. So for that upper part that is ruched, you can just make sure you stitch it very well with your needle and thread, okay? And it's okay, you can go ahead and weave all around your dress. In fact, this dress is very beautiful. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again. Bye.